Have you heard the latest tea that Katt Williams is serving up? Katt's claiming he's got footage of none other than Steve Harvey allegedly getting his freak on with Diddy. Remember all those rumors swirling around about Steve supposedly pimping out Lori to Diddy? Well, Katt's dropping bombs, suggesting it might have been a whole scheme by Steve to cozy up to Diddy himself. And the internet's ablaze with this revelation. Katt Williams is on a mission and he's not holding back. Can you believe this guy turned down a whopping $50 million? Not once, not twice, but 4 times just to protect his integrity. According to Katt, Diddy's been knocking at his door, thirsty for some collaboration if you catch my drift. But Katt's not having any of it. Every time we think Katt's dropped the bombshell of bombshells, he goes and drops another one that blows our minds. Katt's claiming he's got footage of what he's calling a freak-off between none other than Diddy and Harvey. We need to talk about Diddy and his whole freak-off situation. It's been blowing up all over social media lately. Like, seriously, everywhere you look, it's freak-offs here, freak-offs there. So, in this explosive lawsuit, Cassie spilled all the beans, leaving nothing to the imagination. She straight up claimed that Diddy would allegedly push her into some seriously uncomfortable situations with other men. According to her lawsuit, the first time Diddy brought a dude over to his LA crib, they were all decked out in masks and getting their party on with some substances. While Cassie and this mystery man were getting cozy, Diddy was just chilling there, watching the whole thing go down like it was a movie night. Can you imagine the audacity? Apparently, this wasn't just a one-time thing. This freak-off, or as we should say, faux, as Diddy liked to call it, was apparently a regular occurrence. Unfortunately, this nightmare was all too real for Cassie. The ride just got even wilder. It's like we're playing a game of guess who's been in Diddy's freak-offs, and the list is long. According to Cassie's lawsuit, Diddy wasn't just participating in these escapades, he was recording them for posterity. Cassie claimed that Diddy was keeping these videos under lock and key, always ready to whip them out and play director whenever he felt like flexing his control muscles. And he had backup copies for days. Like, who does that? Apparently, he'd even make Cassie sit through these cringeworthy videos just to remind her who was calling the shots. Amidst all this chaos and scandal, one name seems to have slipped through the cracks: Steve Harvey. According to Katt, Steve-O's been playing it smart, keeping his distance from Diddy's public antics and flying under the radar like a stealth bomber. Remember when Katt dropped the bombshell about Steve allegedly pimping out his daughter Lori to Diddy? Well, it turns out there's more to the story. Rumor has it Steve might have had a little something going on with Diddy himself back in the day. Now, we know what you're thinking. Is Katt just spinning tall tales, or is there some truth to all this madness? Let's rewind for a sec and revisit Katt's bombshell about Steve allegedly pimping out Lori. Now, before we jump to conclusions, let's take a closer look at their relationship. Katt pointed out something pretty interesting: how Lori seemed to be Steve's golden child even though she wasn't biologically his. But here's where it gets a little murky. See, while Lori was getting treated like royalty, Steve's biological kids seemed to be getting the short end of the stick. Like, he didn't even show up to his own daughter's graduation. How's that for a dad move? And get this, insiders spilled the tea, revealing that Steve's biological kids weren't exactly feeling the love either. Imagine going to school with them and seeing firsthand how they were kinda left in the shadows while Lori basked in the spotlight. So what's the deal here? Is Steve playing favourites, or are there deeper issues at play? So we've heard about Steve's questionable parenting choices, but now things are getting real serious. We're talking about police investigations and child protective services knocking on the door seriously. Let's start with his sons. You'd think being the offspring of a famous dude like Steve Harvey would come with perks, right? Well, turns out it's been anything but sunshine and rainbows for them. Imagine being practically invisible to your own dad for the first 16 years of your life. That's the reality for Steve's son. There are allegations floating around that Steve's disciplinary tactics might have crossed a serious line. We're talking about accusations of physical abuse so severe that the police had to step in. According to reports, Steve allegedly laid into his son with a belt and even a paddleboard typically used for hazing rituals. The kid ended up with bruises, cuts and injuries so bad he had trouble urinating for days afterward. So, remember how Katt was dropping bombs about Steve allegedly grooming Lori for some shady business? According to Katt, Steve wasn't just spending quality time with Lori out of the goodness of his heart. He had ulterior motives. Allegedly, he was playing matchmaker, setting Lori up for a life that no one would envy. And you know what? It kinda makes sense when you think about it. Lori's been hopping from relationship to relationship. Katt's claiming that Steve saw an opportunity to slide Lori into Diddy's world and he pounced on it like a hungry tiger. And when did this all supposedly go down? Right after the tragic passing of Kim Porter in 2018. According to Katt, Diddy was in a vulnerable state, grieving the loss of his longtime partner, and Steve allegedly swooped in, using Lori as his pawn in a twisted game of manipulation. Remember how Lori and Kim had a seemingly friendly relationship while Kim was still with us? It's true, they were tight, and Lori even paid a heartfelt tribute to Kim on Instagram after her passing. In just a matter of months after Kim's passing, Lori went from calling her mama to cozying up with her baby daddy, Diddy. Lori found herself in the hot seat, facing waves of criticism and hate from all corners of the internet, because Katt's throwing another curveball into the mix. He's claiming that Lori was actually a victim in all this, with no say in whether or not she ended up dating Diddy. Every time Lori stepped out with Diddy, her nails were painted a crisp, bright white. Well, let's rewind a bit to Cassie's bombshell lawsuit, where she spilled the tea about Diddy's particular fondness for white nail polish. According to Cassie, Diddy had a thing for the stark contrast it created against the dark skin of the male escorts he allegedly forced her to cozy up with. It seems like Lori wasn't the only one caught up in the white nail saga. So, why the obsession with white nail polish? And what does it say about Diddy's twisted preferences? Well, it seems like Lori wasn't the only one under his spell. Let's not forget about Steve Harvey. Now, Steve might not have been caught wearing white nail polish, but Lori's dating history raises some serious eyebrows. She jumped from the situation with Cassie straight into the arms of Diddy, a man who already had a reputation for being less than gentle with women. So, you'd think Steve Harvey, with all his doting fatherly love for Lori, would put his foot down and protect her from Diddy's clutches, right? Not only did Steve not intervene, but he actually encouraged it. He went so far as to go on vacation with Lori and Diddy. So, what do you think, folks? Are we witnessing the unravelings of Hollywood's darkest secrets, or is there more to this story than meets the eye? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to buckle up because this rollercoaster ride is far from over. And hey, while you're at it, why not check out our next video?